After a long break, the chill of winter gives way to the heat of summer, and the Ontario Performance Rally Championship returns with the Lanark Highlands Forest Rally. First round of the 2016 Ontario Series Rally Pace Neige was a tale of disappointment for two former title holders vying to rise above their challengers. Defending champion Jeremy Norris had his hopes of a repeat season evaporate suddenly in a scary crash on just the third stage of the event. 2005 champion Peter Thompson inherited a sizable lead following Norris's departure, but he too was caught out by the wintry conditions, dropping irrecoverable time to the snowbanks. Surging novice driver Simon Vincent capitalized on the misfortune ahead of him, taking the final win over fellow Quebec entrant Bruno Laverdiere. In two-wheel drive, leader Nicolas Laverdiere also fell victim to the forest snowbanks, but managed to recover in time to narrowly capture the class win. The Lanark Highlands Forest Rally is presented by the Kitchener Waterloo Rally Club. The first gravel test of the season, the Lanark Highlands Forest Rally covers 79 competitive kilometers of twisting forest stages just an hour southwest of Ottawa. The fabled roads once played host to the Rideau Lakes Rally of the World Rally Championship, and more than 40 years later, the flowing and technical gravel surface still commands respect from veterans and rookies alike.
The stages, they're rougher than I remember them last year. They're very technical. There's a couple of washouts in some of the bottoms of the dips, but stages are great.
Some parts are very twisty, very narrow also, but some other sections, when the pace notes are on the ball, it can go really fast. Even yesterday with my Yukon, we end up at the Jefferson stage with a little smell from the front brake.
The pace notes are very fast, and you don't have the time when you're co-driving to, and I know what I'm talking about because I've been doing it twice as a co-driver, so I know it's very tough for the co-drivers, and they will be playing a big role today.
For this event, we'll be using our road race car, so it's been many years I didn't drive a traditional gearbox with a clutch and 5-speed, so it's totally different driving with the other car with the sequential gearbox.
But the lack of experience with the roads and the less familiar car certainly didn't keep Besner from starting the event on full attack. After 4 stages, the Montreal driver had accumulated more than a minute's lead over the rest of the field. Early series leader Simon Vincent's tentative beginning to the stages cost him significant time to both the leader and second-place Martin Bruno. But with his confidence increasing through the opening loop, the young driver's stage times closed to within tenths of Bruno, pitching the two in a tight battle for the second spot on the podium. As they had in the first championship round, production class teams Eric Vlasic and Bruno Laverdiere once again traded stages against each other throughout the day. But even pushing his 25-year-old Subaru Legacy to its limit, couldn't gain Vlasic significant time on the much newer Mitsubishi of Laverdiere and Patrick Levesque. The two-wheel drive field began as a hotly contested competition, but quickly became a battle of attrition as a series of mishaps dropped top teams out of contention. Championship leader Nicolas Laverdiere and co-driver Vincent Trudel were again the team to catch from the start, but under pressure from Julien Rondeau just over a second behind them, a small mistake sent the pair's Honda Civic off the road, leaving them stranded in a ditch. For Rondeau, the inherited lead was also short-lived, being forced to retire just a few kilometers later due to illness for co-driver Jonathan Raymond. With both leaders exiting, Zoltan Kovac and Guy Boudreau found themselves taking over the top position in the class after a clean start to the day. But with both Gary Sutherland and Matthew Bollinger sitting just a few seconds behind, Kovac had little opportunity to let off. Heading to the second loop of stages, Vincent took an aggressive approach in hopes of gaining back the time drop to Besner and Bruneau ahead of him. Showing again his impressive speed and control, the novice driver managed to leapfrog over Bruneau and even take 2 stage wins away from the veteran Besner in the process. Despite losing the second position to Vincent, Martin Bruneau pressed on. With the championship leader increasing the margin between them, Bruneau kept a consistent pace to stay ahead of Laverdiere and Vlasic, well poised to capitalize on any issues the leaders might encounter. Fighting to close the gap to Kovac, Matthew Bollinger and Bruce Leonard found out the hard way that their increased pace left little margin for error.
Crap. Okay. You okay? I think so.
The roll left Kovac and Sutherland to battle for the top position in class, while behind them, Philippe Benoit now sat comfortably in third position ahead of Patrick Marcoux. After briefly taking the lead, Sutherland and co-driver Kylie Davis found themselves just 3 seconds behind Kovac heading to the final stage. But disaster struck the pair as their Ford Focus suffered an electrical failure just inches from the start line, handing the victory to Kovac and Boudreau and elevating Marcoux to the final podium step behind Benoit.
Started good until the third stage. We landed rough at the jump, damaged the rear suspension, and we ran the entire rally without back control arms. So other than that, we had a big off and survived that. I'm very happy with the pace.
Even Vincent's strong challenge through much of the day wasn't enough to overcome the early lead Jean-Sébastien Besner and Ivan Joyle had established on the field, with the Quebec veterans taking the top step on the podium by nearly a minute and a half. Martin and Anthony Bruneau rounded out the overall podium in third.
And actually I was a bit concerned of driving a rally car with a regular gearbox, and actually it went pretty good. So from the morning stages I went quite fast, so built a good margin so I could drive more easier in the afternoon and try little stuff here and there on the car.
Unfortunately, I complicate my day. I gave a gap to Besnard and also to the Bruno, and then I had to work very hard to get some time on them. And in the end, it worked perfectly. For me, I had a great learning curve on gravel today, and also, like I said, I wanted to be consistent on gravel, and that's what I did.
The roads were perfect, and I was very happy to be here and enjoy this event.
With Besnard not eligible for championship scoring, Vincent takes home top points from Lanark, maintaining his lead ahead of Bruno Laverdiere and Eric Vlasic. Peter McDonald and Nicolas Laverdiere round out the top 5. With a busy summer schedule ahead, the series heads next to Cottage Country for the highly anticipated return of the Galway Cavendish Forest Rally.